That's another one. And Peter wins it. Intensity in his eyes as he's starting this barrage here. Oh, he senses something. Smelling blood. Remember, he's a dog, so it's... Wow! Baby. Defeated, throwing everything on the line for gold. Throwing the Google. Austin Martin's instant classic. Oh, my goodness. Wow! Oh, my God. Smokes.
Years, 60-something events. Every time I think I've seen it all, I see something else.
There it is. Record time. His ball was high.
Boom.
Here we are. We're back. Cheers, everybody. I don't got a drink,
Cheers.
but I got some nachos.
I got some other stuff.
What else is new?
Some things never change.
No. Especially after a year like that, we've had some time away.
Yeah.
You know, we've got the fight card brewing for January, kicking off next year. But this show is kind of all about a year in review. We've got 6 incredible fight nights that we had.
Do we have 6?
6 plus a doubleheader. So that's
7 technically?
7 technically shows, events conglomeratively over the year 2023. Woo! It's been a lot of fun. It's been great. Big thanks to everybody involved, from the crew, everybody behind the scenes, to all the fighters, all the fans that show up in attendance. It's time to kind of like soak it all in and get things going for the awards, the end of the year awards, something that we've been doing the past few years. And man, we've got a ton of categories that are chock full of possible nominations here, and
Yeah.
can't wait to have it.
Man, it was a crazy year. It's been, I mean, we didn't even have a show after our recap of Cage Titans 62. Incredible night. Giannetti recapturing that title. That he kind of gave up but didn't give up. Then we had the craziness with the main event and Mitch Raposo's fight getting scrapped on fight night. It was an insane night. It's top to bottom. That card was crazy. So, shout out to the guys, because we haven't officially came on and done a Table Titans to kind of recap it. But like you said, we're not here for that tonight. But, definitely make sure we say congrats to all the fighters, whether they won, lost. Everybody was an amazing Cage Titans 62 back on November 11th. Seems like so long ago.
And it's like so long ago that we were actually doing those recaps. I don't think we did a night after the fight card recap at all this year. That's kind of how crazy the fight year has been, with just
like Monday morning rolls around and we're like,
we're totally done. I mean, watching the sun come up on Sunday so many times and going to the Main Street brunch, we're just done by Monday. So
it's been a good time, but it's been a great year, honestly. I think every year just keeps getting better and better and raising the bar, like I always say, and just trying to compete against ourselves and whatever we did that last event, no matter how much fun and great it was, we're back in this war room, being like, listen, what are we going to do next? And how are we going to top it? And I just met with Nick earlier and we were talking already about ideas for 2024, already chatting with Joe and our production team, how we're going to improve on there. I'm always up for suggestions of like there's things that fans want to see or fighters want to see that we're not doing, like that they think could help. Like, we're always open for suggestions. So this is our promotion as a community and as a group. So, that's kind of all I got to say. I promise you, like, we've already dropped a couple fights. Like, before we get to the year end of awards and start talking about that, like, we just dropped 2 massive fights. One of them being a dream matchup that I can't imagine. Like, I'm still in awe that it's happening with Joe Giannetti versus Sean Lally.
Yeah.
Like, these guys have both been fighting for Cage Titans. The only time they haven't fought for Cage Titans is when they were either on the Ultimate Fighter, the UFC, or Dana White's Contender Series. Like, they fought almost exclusively. Like, we've watched them grow up in front of our eyes, fighting from 2014 on. Lally was a pro in 14. Giannetti was just an amateur, making his amateur debut in that same year. So, like, it's funny to see these kind of paths collide and cross. A division that Giannetti was never really interested in, somehow found himself in a title fight, won that title fight against Goody, was like, I'm never defending it, somehow found himself recapturing that last time, and now he is defending it on the first fight of the year against the middleweight champion, Lally. It was a huge fight we announced, and then piggybacking off that in the co-main event, very rarely do you get the number 1 and number 2 guys in New England to face off against each other. When you're that close to the top, you see a lot of guys trying to like either cross train so they don't have to compete on the local level. But these guys, I mean, hats off to Justin Valentin. Like, he's like, listen, I've seen where Mitch is. I want all the smoke. And especially after what happened last fight with Mitch's fight falling out, Mitch is like, I'm waiting for the next Cage Titans event. I don't care who I'm taking out. I'm taking somebody's head. I'm getting back to the UFC. So 2 great fights on this card.
It's a matchup that's been spoken about happening before and finally coming to fruition, and a great time to kick off the year. And to go back to Lally versus Giannetti matchup, it's Cage Titans fans' simultaneous dream and nightmare matchup, because like you said, we've seen both of them grow and produce incredible moments and incredible finishes in the fight game, and right in front of our eyes at Plymouth Memorial Hall, like you said, exclusively. They're both dedicated,
like
Cage
born and
Titans,
bred, like in Plymouth.
Both extremely just incredible ambassadors as champions to the sport, to Cage Titans, and here they are meeting in the middle against each other in a riveting fight. It's a stylistic clash that is going to produce an entertaining scrap regardless. So can't wait to see both of them throw down the Legends tour, if you will, and gold on the line makes it even better.
And Aaron Hughes, 4 fights this year, 5 next year, no one except for Cage Titans. Let's go, man. We love that. And what's great about it, I think that really Mark Featherstone mentions, we've literally changed the name to the Plymouth Memorial Coliseum. Like, I think what really separates it is like when we have guys that are fighting exclusively with us, we get to tell the stories, we get to bring the fans in, we get to tell the stories behind the matchups and reason why they should care about this fight. Again, other promotions out there, here's the secret sauce, tell the story. Like, hey, cool, fighter X versus fighter B is all well and good, but like, tell the reason why fans want to be into these fights. And I think that's really what separates. We do a good job of projecting it. And then I think, like Featherstone said, turned it into the Coliseum on fight night. Everybody that's in that audience is intrigued by the fights. And when you go to Cage Titans, you are there for the fights. And maybe there's some socializing, like running into people that you know. At a lot of other promotions and venues, it's socializing first. And then when your friend's about to fight, you kind of run to your seat and go watch the fight. Then you go back to socializing, and that's no knock. Like, I mean, cool. It's fun to fight at a casino. I fought at a casino when I was there, when I fought, so those things are fun. But again, you have, like, I remember going to a UFC in a casino. It's like, you go watch a couple prelims and you go back out to the casino and gamble. And then you go back in to watch a couple more fights. It's just, I think that Plymouth Memorial Coliseum, as Featherstone has dubbed it, is, you're forced to sit in your chair and watch these fights. And then that adrenaline high, we go right into the next one to keep that high going. and the fans love it. So
yeah, I've been told a few times this year by some people that have been for the first time, people that have never seen cage fights before, tell them that is the best live event they've ever been to. Period. Just regardless, like more than a couple of times, and it's we're like so used to it now. But yeah, that's kind of the atmosphere we're putting in there. And yes, I love the Coliseum dub. That is
good.
Certainly it is.
So Featherstone, like myself, is also a Plymouth
yeah.
resident. You and I should team up. We'll storm Town Hall. He lives right off of Main Street. The Beast does. I'll meet you at house. We'll walk right down to Town Hall, and we'll with you and I at the front steps. Let's be like, listen, we are changing the name to Plymouth Memorial Coliseum. So there you go. And I brought everyone from my son to my mother, and they all had a blast. That's one thing, Ryan. That's something I was talking to Nick about, and I've talked about with Andy and Joe. It's like there's something about cage signs. Like people come, they're like, I don't know what to expect. I thought I was going to a bingo hall for like they're thinking independent wrestling and like a high school gymnasium. They're like, holy shit, I wasn't expecting this. And then the other piece that I find is a lot of times when people come, they're like, I'm not a fan of fighting, but screw it. Like it's my son-in-law or it's this, that, and the other thing. So I have to go. And then they go and they're like, I didn't think I was going to love it this much because I think the passion really comes forward. But Featherstone says he's in. Let's go. Me and the Beast are going to go.
Storming the hall.
We're going to go storm the steps. But anyways, we're here tonight kind of like every year what we do. Oh, Bob Dylan played there. Willie. Oh, cool. I did not know that. No, Rob Pico. I don't know if that in 2023. I don't know if that. I mean, maybe he wants a midget grappling match.
Midget grappling. I think this could be fun.
That is bingo hall wrestling. So, anyways, we're trying to get away.
We don't
from
discriminate.
That. I've always said like in being in Plymouth, like when you think Pawtucket back in the day, you think Providence, Bruins, and you think Pawtucket Red Sox, like was synonymous with the town, like Plymouth. It's like when you think Plymouth, you want to think Pilgrims. Because that's what you've been thinking through history, but it's like Cage Titans. That's the home of Cage Titans, and I think we're slowly but surely kind of getting that going. I'm 5'6". I can almost make that level. Jeez. We're going down a path that I didn't want to go, but the year has been incredible. Every end of the year, we've been doing year-end awards for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I don't even remember how many.
It's been a while.
But tonight's show, we got probably about a good 20 minutes in us. We're going to probably do a half an hour show tonight just to kind of get in the saddle, kind of start refreshing our memory on some knockouts and kind of brainstorming. And if you guys have ideas, please throw them in the comments.
Honestly, we're battling it out. There's some categories here with all the traditional categories: knockout of the year, sub of the year for both amateurs and pros, fighter, fight of the year, all the usuals. We want to hear some of your favorites. I mean, we've definitely
hammered home
We've been chatting over the past couple of weeks over what kind of crazy year this has been. In a lot of years, we've had either struggles of getting 4 nominees for a certain category, but this year I feel like we're trimming a bunch of possible nominations out. So we don't want to make this like a set in stone. This is a definite nomination or shoe and win, but every single category is extremely competitive this year.
So our goal tonight is kind of just to shoot the shit and kind of reminisce on some of the fights and some of these categories and kind of turn to you guys to give us some ideas. Then ultimately next Monday, which is the 11th, we will release all the nominee videos and everybody who was nominated, which will turn around and open up the voting. So tonight we want to hear from you guys and we want to see what you guys think should be nominees. And then we'll work in the background. We'll kind of whittle it down to the 4. And then next Monday, we'll be here for a big nominee announcement show. Will be a full hour show where we'll play all the nominee videos, announce everybody, and then we'll open up, for that. So here we go. What do we got?
Discussing, I mean, when are we going to announce the winners here?
So we were talking about, the 11th and then the week before Christmas doing it and doing a week of voting. And Andy's like, what's the notice at the fights? But then I'm like, fight week. We have so much going on. So I think we're going to do, I like this. So comeback breakout fighter of the year, Aaron, there you go. Fight of the year candidate, Brody versus so Evan, we actually do an amateur category and a pro category. So that's your amateur category. I like Featherstone, most blood loss on the mats.
Listen, there were
and the loudest shot landed. I mean, loudest shot had to be the Barrett liver kick. That sounded like a baseball bat.
Yeah, well, that shot that Hassan Graham landed on Max Lombardo was
it loud or was it like the opposite of loud, where everybody just went silent?
It was the opposite. It was no. It was quite loud. It went from 0 to decibel levels breaking in there. And it wasn't so much the shot, but it was just the explosion of the crowd. Both could count. I like that nomination. I like that category if it does kind of throw in there. But yeah, there was some.
Ryan
there
said
was
that
some,
shot was loud.
There was some loud moments.
I wasn't even in there because I was in the back room doing God knows what. Like, I'm never watching the fights, but I just heard, and I went out there and I'm like, what is going on? And it was just pure chaos. Let's see what Evan says. In that case, pro fight of the year was Barrett Al-Kanani or Duma and Penafiel. That's actually, we have our list, kind of working list, and pro fight of the year. Let's just jump on it. Barrett versus Al-Kanani, Party versus Duma. Those are the 2 nominees that we have. We like to keep 4 for every category, so I'm open to other ideas if anybody else has any other nominees.
Well, yeah, that we were talking about the card of the year.
Aaron Hughes Barrett was the craziest fight I've seen live.
Card of the year had to be that one, whichever one that was, whether it was 58, 59.
Oh yeah, the Kate right there. The day night doubleheader. It was the nighttime. Was it the nighttime?
I do believe it was.
Yeah, it was the nighttime.
I do believe it
Cage
was. So it was
58.
March. Yep, 58. That was the craziest card I think I've ever sat cage side for. The fights just kept escalating in intensity and blood and violence and heart and grit, and just never slow down or hit the brakes. Yeah. And both of those fights were on that night. Duma versus Party was the main event. One of the top 5 craziest fights I've ever seen.
Let's also,
and then Mo Kanani and Peter Barrett was the appetizer to it, which is right up there in the top 5 craziest fights I've ever seen with my
real quick
eyes.
Shout out to Domenico. What's going on, my man? I just want to say a quick say hi to him. And then
I'll be in studio Wednesday, I think, in the room.
Oh, cool. There you go. Shout out to the room. Let's back up a second, because obviously that's card of the year. Like we were already, a couple of people said card of the year, definite category. That was my first. Evan Williams said that was his first fight he ever attended.
Oh,
let's not forget that the Jacob Bone Ali fight and the way that fight ended, with Bone getting that third round, like crowd silence or submission. And then it was like, holy shit, that was amazing. Now, let's also not forget that the Giannetti fight fell off, which was supposed to be the headliner. So then all of a sudden, Duma and Party slides into that spot. And then the co-main event is Mo Kanani versus Barrett. So you go with Ali versus Bone, and it was an amazing fight. And Bone just like silences everybody and gets that like amazing guillotine. I'll put the comments up. You're breathing on me.
I'm inhaling.
But anyways, and then it goes right into the Mo Kanani fight and Barrett fight. And it's like, dude, how is anybody going to top that? And then the Party and Duma is like, hold my beer. And they came out. It was
just the consistency of crazy moment after crazy moment. Everything that you could imagine going absolutely insane in a fist fight happened in that window of time where every single fight was just bang, 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 nonstop. One of the craziest, no, not one of, definitely the craziest, like 48 to 70-hour span, being all the preparation that goes into the day-night doubleheader and just clinging to life. And then there's Mo Kanani and Peter Barrett just jolting more energy, and then Duma and the Party come out and put on that fight like that. And then I don't sleep for another 3 days afterwards. I don't know how it does it, but the drug of fighting tops all.
There you go. Giannetti. All I know is I nominate Duford for no awards. I love that. I actually got to run upstairs and get my charger because I forgot to bring it down. So, Andy,
take it away.
Keep them talking.
Chopping on
Can we have a Karen of the Year award?
A what? Karen of the Year award. I got to run. I don't know how we go about nominating those. How we pick them out of the crowd to get them to be a winner. But no, honestly, 2023 was one of the craziest years, kicking things off in January. That day-night doubleheader, and then crowning our first inaugural heavyweight champion. Ras Hilton had quite a year. We were going through who possibly could win Fighter of the Year at the professional ranks, and we had some guys that made their pro debut that just hit the road sailing. You got guys like Joe Poirier out there who went 3-1 with Cage Titans alone, 4-1 as a total. Andrew Valdino went 3-0. Ras Hilton obviously becoming the inaugural heavyweight champ in incredible fashion. And then Joshua Marsh also got to throw his nod in there, becoming the second ever heavyweight champion for Pro Fighter of the Year. All those could also be categories for Knockout of the Year, Performance of the Year, Fight of the Year. They were all insane. That was a quick trip. That you flew up and down the stairs that quick?
Yeah.
My goodness. Shocked. But yeah, there you go. I held the fort down.
You held the fort down. I was getting a hustle on because I didn't want you to have to get killed in the middle.
The drugs. Yeah, the drug of fighting. Definitely say yes to the drug of fighting. It's the best. Get the cage titans. You'll feel it.
2 great submissions. Aaron Hughes is
Aaron Hughes. Absolutely. He's got those 2 crazy guillotines. Both of them started from the standing position that slammed the Berber threw him in. And then Jerry Muse also has some incredible submission finishes there this year. The Twister, obviously, one of the most legendary submission finishes that we've seen at the Hall.
Yeah.
And then just so many of them.
Some subs here. We kind of had some notes here. Jerry Muse Twister, the Aaron Hughes guillotine, the Jacob Bone
guillotine in the 3rd round when you're probably down 2 rounds that come from behind. That could be a comeback of the year as well. Yeah, this is just about what we kind of wanted to discuss. Kind of just glance over every single card together where we get a quick idea. We got
another thing we can do. We have some fun ones. We have.
Can't forget about how good of a fight Will Smith and Cam Arnold was. That was a banger. That's also got to be
speech of the year. Aaron Hughes. I'll put that in for nominees.
Speech.
Yeah, banging moms. I mean, Jerry Muse's post-fight speech the whole patriotic thing. That was a good one.
Especially on Veterans Day.
Yeah, that was a veteran. That was a good veteran.
That was awesome.
I don't know, buddies. What about walkout of the year?
Walkout of the year this year? Ooh, I'm going to need help with this one. The fights happened and were so incredible. I kind of forgot.
How was the parties walkout? He always does something crazy.
You know, Jerry had a good.
Yeah, Dancing Jerry. That's an obvious.
Jerry, yep. Dancing Jerry for the walkout. Lionel had a walkout. Lionel fought Jay. That was
Yeah. Hey, Mike, how about an Aaron Hughes fight announcement for January? Wednesday, I'm doing a breaking news, and I got 3 fights to drop, and you may or may not be in that one. I got you there, Aaron. So I'll be honest, the last 2 weeks since the show, I haven't opened my phone. I don't respond to messages. So I will tell you this. Every show I do go dark, and I try to take a week. Sometimes it slides into 2 weeks. I usually try to take a week or 2 off. It's not that I don't like you. It's not that I don't want to answer your calls or your messages. I don't talk to anybody. I really just try to take a week or so off, 2 weeks. And yes, I've announced fights. I think last week I announced fights, but those are kind of a couple fights that just either fell in my lap or I already had in talks. I've only gotten names from 2 schools so far. I haven't even reached out to the rest of the schools. So we just are 8 weeks out right now. So this is kind of where I'm kicking back up. We had Thanksgiving. I had some family in from out of town, stuff like that. So if I didn't get back to you, it's not that I'm ignoring you. Well, it is that I'm ignoring the collective you as a whole Cage Titans community, where it's just I'm not choosing any one person. Not
don't take it personal.
Yes, that's that. So that's kind of what it is. I take a week or 2 off.
We'll make it work.
But I will announce your fight this Wednesday. Talk to you and Andy Wednesday night. Yes, Domenico.
Yeah, tune into the room. You might hear some more.
So there you go. So let's just kind of quickly. So Pro Fighter of the Year. I'm going to go down some of the categories.
I just kind of went over.
Oh, you did. Pro Fighter of the Year. Did you go over Ami Fighter? That was
Ami Fighter is going to be a tough one there. I don't know how many amateur fighters fought more than twice this year. There was only really a couple that I could remember. You got to throw a nod to Brody McDougal becoming a champion. Jadafar Ojukwu became a champion again at 185 pounds.
Tyler Smythe, actually. Tyler Smythe took out Nate Russell.
Yep. So we've got a couple of amateur champions that changed hands.
So just kind of looking. Why don't we do this? And if anybody hears anything, throw it out in the comments. And I'm going to go right back to January. Cage Titans 57. We had Teddy Politis and Avery Andrews in a Muay Thai fight.
Are we going fight for fight?
I'm going right down. I'm just going to just rattle them off. Dion Perry, Kai Michelle. If something intrigues you, shout it out. I know you're gonna say sub in that fight.
Could be a sub of the year right there.
Wakefield versus Lexus.
Also.
Hannaford Sanford versus Jack Noon. Drew Arpin and Santi Munez, which we've talked about for fight of the year. Amanda Ferreira and Lindsay Kelly, knockout of the year. Interesting up there. Brett Layton versus Joe Atala. That could be fight of the year for Nami. That was a pretty good fight.
Decent scrap.
Josh Rodriguez and Tyler Menard. That could be a debut of the year with his hot dog celebration. Though we haven't seen much of Menard after that. Tyler Smythe took out Nate Russell. And Nate Russell was 8-2, who had like 4 different title belts.
Yeah.
Tyler Smythe had 3 different. That was like superstar amateur flyweights.
Led him into going to a pro debut, and he's had like 5 pro fights since then. Too.
Yeah, Muse first Bo Parlant. The twist that happened in that fight. Valdina took on Basler. Aaron Hughes got the submission over Matt Denning. Will Smith versus Cam Arnold, which you mentioned. Peter Barrett with that huge liver kick over Chris Burbick. And then Giannetti defended his title against Saul Almeida. That was all in January. Holy shit. That was some good fights.
We had a year.
And Drew Arpin versus Sandy Munez is what Aaron Hughes is saying. You got to throw in there for.
Got to be. That's up there in
in
fight of the year. Brody versus Ozzy for sure. That's one of the craziest Sammy fights that I've seen. Miguel Sevison and Sergey Pashunko. That was a crazy 5-round war.
Then in March, we had that day-night doubleheader. We had 17 fights during the day, followed up by 10 at night. I'm not going to go over all these ones. Knockout of the year, Ozzie Martin and Daniel Keepers. We totally forgot. We got to throw that on. Oh, we're throwing that in there. Where is that?
Getting a nomination.
Ozzie Martin.
We got Lindsay Kelly.
Keepers.
And Amanda Ferreira.
Amanda. Yep. Oh, yeah. We have Amanda versus Lindsay.
So these aren't like official nominations.
These aren't officially
We're kind of just going through them as a collective right now. But
Hassan Graham got to be in that KO. I witnessed a death that night. Andy had a friend who passed out in the crowd after seeing that. So yeah, that again, that's a pro and amateur category. So that's definitely listed in the pros.
Oh, don't worry. We got Hassan Graham getting his due for that insane knockout. But he's got some competition this year too.
Yeah.
We're just talking about Peter Barrett and Giannetti off that last card with that switch kick knockout.
Yeah. Andrew Jacobs and Cutter. Politis came back in March and won the amateur title against Key Baltazar, or Elvis Hernandez took on Daniel Moeller. Miles Avery and Tim Melvin. That was a good fight, if I remember correctly. Carlos Butler-Stair and Blaze Nichols, Ash Rao and Portillo. That was a good one. And then the nighttime card, Poirier beat Fuller in his pro debut. Then he went on. He had 5 fights that as a pro, Joe Poirier. And
Jerry Muse kicked off his streak.
Against Higginbomb.
Aaron Chassell went 2-0.
Yeah, Aaron Chassell had a great year. He took out Shane Delahaye.
Quick.
Valdina came back and picked up a win against Mike Taylor. Then we had the Jacob Bone with the submission over Zabian. Jeff Joy took out Carl Langston, Peter Barrett, and Mo Kanani. And Joe, that was a crazy card. Let's see if we missed anybody on that card. Going to be a tough choice between Giannetti and Hassan for pro fight. Yes, for sure. Norton must get some shine. He's legit top 3.
Definitely a crowd silencer moment right there.
Norton versus
Joe Poirier, definitely born and raised in Plymouth Memorial Hall as far as a fight career goes, and to see Casey Norton come in and put on that kind of performance last show.
You talk about crowd silencer, like, man. And then here we are in May. I'm going to go top to bottom of this one. Hilton taking out Battles,
and
crowd silencer.
No doubt that's up there in the
Bone versus DSAB. Could be a crowd silencer as well.
For sure.
Pat Casey taking out Navis.
Another crowd silencer right there.
Talk about the crowd silencer.
Again, we don't want crowd silencer. We kind of replaced with upset. But
yeah,
now
it's not an upset.
But now we actually do odds. So it's a little different now, where we could actually have an upset of the year if we hone in on.
Crowd silencer was kind of more of like a out of state like guy who came in, or like, again, like we just mentioned, Ross Hilton, he's from Maine. That was a pro heavy Battles crowd.
He had some fans here.
He did, but it was
Brendan Battles sold so many tickets for that show. There was a huge entourage there to support Brendan Battles fighting for the inaugural heavyweight title, and Ross Hilton put on one hell of a performance there. And just
we talked about doing performance of the year,
and that's right up there in fight of the year. That's as crazy of a comeback as I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes.
This fight card, we keep saying it's a slam dunk for 58, but I mean, this card, you had Hilton come out with the victory.
Oh, they were all
Bone, Casey. Then dude, this gets lost in the shuffle on the year. Trevor Goody and Jack Congan.
Another great
Great
matchup
fight.
that was,
and then Mitch Raposo and Tyler Smythe with the knockout
Mhm.
of the year nominee. Valdina and Will Smith. That was another insane fight. Then you had the draw with the Hughes and Hixenbaum, and then you had Joe Poirier going to 2-0 against Medina. Miguel and Sergey, amateur fighter of the year. You had Colin and Jadoffer, which was their middleweight title. Andrew Jacobs taking out Joe Lexus. Jake Kasky and Joe Atala, which was a fun one. Shane Wellman and Liam Harriman, which
that was a hell of a fight too.
Yeah,
that was a great way to kick it off, man. You forget how good some of these amateur fights were that started off these cards.
Yeah. What else we got here? Did Casey miss weight? Some motherfucker yelling it behind me now. I want to know anything I can be.
I don't think no miss weight.
Oh, Casey Norton. I think he's coming back to Casey Norton. Yes, we did have to bump to Casey. So if there was one black eye on that performance, the day of weigh-ins, we had to bump the weight up to 128 because Casey was having some difficulty. So you're Pico. You can't get anything by Pico. Evan Williams, the Watford versus Casey was definitely a silencer.
That was a good fight.
Then we went to July. Some fun fights. We had the Perrin versus Lionel fight that finally happened.
James with the debut of the year coming up.
Montreal James, silence. Yeah. Watford upsetting, so to speak, against Pat Casey was another crazy one. That Woodstick versus Shayna's fight was another banger of a fight. Aaron Hughes got that guillotine off of Burbrick. And then we had the two 45 and 50 years old making their debuts in Dan Bartolini and Greg Jones. And that was another fun one. That was the Brody and Ozzy fight, the comeback fight for
Michael Colon versus Shane Mulligan. Mulligan had a crazy comeback after being put in all sorts of dizziness.
Yeah, man, some great. I mean, it's kind of a different type of comeback, but like Conor Morrell coming in at 0-4 and picking up his first win. That's like more of like a comeback of his career, like just turning it around, which is another fun guy.
Rich Clark versus Carter Whitty was a hell of a Muay Thai scrap. That's definitely got to be circled up as a nomination for it.
There we go. And now what else do we have? Our card in September. The Dufort versus Giannetti. Giannetti says no rewards.
Sorry.
Crowd silencer.
Silences the crowd could possibly get right there, brother. That was insane. And got to give the hats off to Michael Dufort coming in.
Don't worry. You'll get your flowers, JoJo. I know JoJo sometimes gets censored. We still love you. JoJo, for his performance against Casey, knockout of the year, comeback of sorts. Like you mentioned, to come back off of that loss and come right back, short notice, pick up a victory. Huge comeback.
That's definitely gotten a vote for comeback of the year in mine.
Josh Marsh taking out Hilton, and that was another crazy fight.
Nate Williams
taking out D-Sab.
And he's done it before. Nate Williams going 2-0 at Cage Titans total now. So
Nate Williams is fought Don Shanis with the victory. He's talking another crowd favorite in Zach D-Sab. And he told me there's two other guys on his hit list. He's got Giannetti and Barrett on his hit list. And we're going to see if we can maybe lock those in 2024.
There was some good one-round wars this year as well. Bray Nichols and Ryan Kennedy was one crazy fight that ended in between round 1 and 2. But for 3 minutes of a war that was, I wouldn't be upset if that got a nomination for fight of the year as well. And then his brother Blaze Nickel going in and fighting Carter Whitty the same night. That was another one-round scrap that you can't discount those one-round scraps for fight of the year. It doesn't always have to be something that goes into the deep waters or go to the decision.
Performance of the year, Jay
Curley and Tim Melvin, another great fight that took place. There's so many. We've had some diluted,
like we kept talking about. We're like
past, but there's a bunch of great fights right here. Amateur knockouts, though. Let's see who else had a good. Danny Jefferson and Travis Rivard was a crazy pace that Danny Jefferson threw out there. If you're talking about just
Colby Lambert, he likes Nichols and Kennedy.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight, Nichols and Kennedy.
What else we got? Then we go right to our last card of the year. We talked about Giannetti and Casey. Giannetti for a comeback, possibly knockout. Jerry Muse.
Go back to the last one.
You want to go back to the last one?
That was Hassan Graham's.
Hassan Graham versus Lombardo, knockout of the year.
Sickest knockout I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes.
Jerry Muse and Aaron Hughes. Casey Norton, crowd silencer. Poirier was 4-0 coming into that. Trissell with the my balls are hot celebration.
Yep. No, that's definitely a celebration of the year if there is one.
Debut of the year, Everett DeSeals.
Everett Desolé for sure. Debut of the year, sub of the year, whatever that scarf hold finish was. That was gruesome, violent. I haven't seen anything quite like that. Very unique. Definitely a shoe-in for a
Speaking of things that's unique or we haven't seen before, the Schubert versus Arslan.
Oh man! And
MMA glove.
Speaking of which, this is what the
glove right here,
was. That's Sean Schubert's retirement glove.
So that knocks the second. So we had Marty Navis. I know you guys can't see it. I don't have anybody behind the camera to twist it, but Marty Navis was the first ever in cage. Actually, his gloves are right here. Cage retirement at Cage Titans. So I have that on my wall of fame over here, and then Sean Schubert, I was smart enough to grab him and have him sign him this time, and I let him keep one, and I kept one. I'll have to catch up with Marty. But, yeah, the first time anybody's retired, Sean Schubert was the second one. That's going to be hard to top for Muay Thai Fight of the Year. So, yeah, man, there's a lot to go over. There's a lot of like number crunching and figuring out who's going to be the final nominees. All I can tell you is this, tune in next Monday. We'll have all the nominee videos ready to go. And did some out-of-state guy retire? Who would that be, Pico? I'm not sure. In the cage. I don't remember. I thought it was Marty Navis, the first ever in-cage retirement.
Fernando?
I don't think he officially did in the cage. I don't think no one's ever took their gloves off and put them in there.
I thought he did.
Maybe.
His last fight against Human Man. Fernando Perez did. But
I've been doing this 13 years, 68 something events.
Hey, listen, it happens. It catches up to you.
Definitely. It's so funny. When I was younger,
I remember the first 4 or so years of doing this, I can remember everything that happened. But just this now, we're going over this, and these fights I've already gone over every single fight card to come up in my head of what my nominees were, and I forgot about some of these fights. Liam Harriman and Shane Wellman, crazy fight. Forget how good some of these fights are that happen in the sneaker parts of the card early on, and then the chaos that ensues after a doubleheader and a whole year of action, man. It's
good news for all of you. Cage Titans releases all of their fights on YouTube. Every event is up on YouTube right now, with the exception of the last event, which was November 11th. That debuts this Saturday night on the Cage Titans YouTube channel. So if you want to freshen up before next week's show and rewatch all the fights, every event, Cage Titans 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, they're all up on YouTube right now. And Cage Titans 62 debuts on our YouTube channel this Saturday. Cheap plug, wink, wink.
Not a cheap plug whatsoever, man. We're gonna build those YouTube views up.
And Nick actually reminded us, Jason Ryan retired after his fight with Joy.
Yep.
But he came out of retirement, so I don't know if I'll count him. I do count him, but in the moment he did.
Now you mentioned, I remember that.
I remember that. Now that you brought it up, I do remember it, Nick. But I'm pretty sure he unretired, or he tried to make an unretirement and come back. He has not fought yet, but he's technically still retired. So there you go.
All right, there we go.
But he didn't give me his gloves. There you go. I don't think he left them on the floor. He just kind of talked. But no, I do remember that. Anywho, so there you have it, guys. Somewhat a quick show this week, but it was just to kind of get back in front of you, talk a little bit about the awards. So once again, this week we'll be just send us a DM on it, IG, share a clip of your favorite fight or knockout or whoever. We're open to taking people's suggestions to kind of fill out this ballot. And then next Monday at 8:00, tune in. We'll have a full show, and we'll be releasing all the nominee videos and going down each one of them and opening the polls. Yeah. Also, for some homework, this upcoming, not homework, but this just housekeeping. I usually say housekeeping, but housekeeping, Cage Titans 63 tickets will go on sale this Friday. And we already announced the main co-main event. We already announced MMA Island, announced the OG title between Brian Costco and Greg Jones.
I'm going to be on the Room podcast Wednesday, maybe dropping some more
a couple of fights Wednesday.
Domenico's getting his beans.
He's going to get some beans. So Tickets will go on sale this Friday. We'll do a whole to-do, and we're going to work on some sort of like Christmas giveaway if you buy tickets before Christmas. I haven't really hammered it out exactly yet, but stay tuned on Wednesday because I'm going to drop a breaking news video on Wednesday. And I'm hoping to have a couple fights finalized for that breaking news and give you guys all the holiday package ticket sales thing that we're going to do. I don't have anything else. Follow Cage Titans across all social media. What are you, Andy?
Dude, I got nothing else but gratitude for this whole year that has taken place. Already excited for January. Looking forward to getting through the holidays, getting through these awards, giving all the credit where credit is due to all of the fighters that participated this year and had incredible performance that are worthy of these accolades. It's been a blast being a part of this organization for the past number of years and loving the steps that we take to make all of these fight cards incredible as we can for everybody involved in all of these fights. And we know how much you guys sacrifice when you go into the cage and what's at stake and what's on the line and how many hours away from your family and people that you take hours away from to just prepare for these fights and get down weight. It's all for you at the end of the day. And just be more happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. On that note, if you did message me over the last 2 weeks, business is open starting tomorrow morning. So re-message me if I didn't get back to you. I know all the DMs are full of people saying, let me get on the card? Let me get on the card. Do you have any names? Tomorrow, I would say officially coaches will start hearing from me, kicking the tires, getting names for January 27th. So that's kind of my homework for this week. Tomorrow,
he literally does shut down for 2 weeks after a fight card. This is my impression of Michael Pulver after a fight event at right about when the sun's going to come up. No matter what, he finds where people are and will continue to get whether he ransacks the hotel hot tub or his neighbor's house, wherever. And this is him by about 5 a.m. No, we got to do this for them.
Like next show, we're going to do that.
And he's literally falling asleep and then fighting to stay back up like a toddler on Christmas Eve. And then that's
I like that.
That's literally how you get. And it's just you can
usually what it is.
You can detox off the 19 monsters you've had and just rest for a while here, Michael.
So that's like I say to guys, like, it's all out in everything I do. Even my wife, my wife and my kids. It's
I can't believe you don't do. I can't believe you don't do drugs. That's I can't believe it.
They take the sideline and they know, the restaurant takes the sideline and they know it's like all hands on deck. So, usually after the show, it's just realistic. It's like the last fighter to get on the plane the following day. That's when it's like, all right, cool. They're on the plane. I'm not responsible for anything else.
And sometimes the fighter that misses
they miss the plane,
lingers around for a couple of days.
I've had that happen, and I'm not off until they freaking get home. But it's like it's so it's a lot of work, and it's just I didn't want to go down that road, but I'm just saying if I have not reached out to you and you reached out to me in the last 2 weeks, it's not that I was ignoring you particularly. It's just what I do. Every show, I take a week off. Sometimes it turns into 2, but tomorrow business is back open. I'll be reaching out to all you coaches.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
And what my goal is to finish matching this card this week, getting all the names, getting the poster to drop. Actually, that was the other thing. Wednesday, we're going to poster drop, fight announcement drop, and our ticket holiday package drop on Wednesday. Friday, we're going to drop ticket sales, and next Monday, nominees. But my goal is everybody will have a matchup by next week that plans on fighting on this card. So that card will be set in stone by the week before Christmas. Ideally, that's where we want to be. I don't want people going to the holidays wondering if they're can have an eggnog or not, if they're going to fight or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that's my goal for you guys, and I know that will happen. So there we go. I really have nothing more now. Shout out to everybody in Cage Titans world. I appreciate you guys. And this was supposed to start off 15 years ago for me as stepping into an MMA gym and trying to lose a little bit of weight. Turned into one fight for myself, 2, 3. Then it turned into I'll do one Cage Titans event, one Cage Titans, and now here we are 13 years later with Cage Titans. It's incredible. I thank you guys for all the years and all the memories. It really does keep my fire, going. So there you go.
That's it. All right. Cheers,
Cage
everybody.
Titans.
Take it easy.
Wrap.
Something tells me I'm wrong, but you I never can tell the way you drag me along. Tell me, am I insane? Is this where we
to the midget. Here it is. Bernardi's turning up the pace here, but Peter Barrett throwing right back. That's another one. And Peter wins it. Intensity in his eyes as he's starting this barrage here. Oh, he senses something. Smelling blood. Remember, he's a dog, though. Wow. Something Dolly, baby. Robin Speedy throwing everything on the line for gold. Brody McDougal, Ozzy Martin, instant classic. Oh, my goodness. Wow. What a round. Oh, my God. Smokes.
Years, 60-something events. Every time I think I've seen it all, I see something else.